These words have found their way to you during a moment of profound significance. This intersection isn't random chance. There's an undercurrent flowing beneath your conscious awareness. Right now, something you can't precisely identify, yet you sense it. A stirring, an expectation, like standing at the threshold of a vast ocean, knowing you're about to dive, but uncertain what depths await. What unfolds here isn't superficial encouragement or idealistic fantasy. This emerges from observable phenomena documented across countless human experiences during the moments immediately before everything transforms. And there's a distinct progression that manifests before your most significant evolution arrives. Most individuals overlook it completely because they're searching for incorrect indicators. Currently, as you absorb these insights, you're experiencing what researchers term the awareness emergence. You're beginning to detect that something monumental is developing in your existence, but you cannot perceive the complete landscape yet. It resembles attempting to distinguish forms in heavy mist. You recognize something's present, but the specifics remain concealed. Here's what rarely gets discussed about major life transitions. They don't herald themselves with celebration. They don't manifest when you anticipate them to. Instead, they slip in through the peripheral spaces of your consciousness, masked as routine moments that feel subtly different, subtly charged with significance you cannot interpret. You've likely noticed these moments already. Perhaps it was an exchange with a colleague that felt unusually meaningful. Perhaps you've been experiencing visions that linger longer than typical. Perhaps you keep encountering identical patterns or meeting similar personalities in various locations. These aren't arbitrary events. They're markers guiding you towards something that's been developing long before you became conscious of it. The initial stage of this progression is what scientists call the deconstruction phase. This is where everything that's been limiting you begins to organically dissolve. Not in a sudden dramatic collapse, but in a gentle, methodical dismantling of frameworks that no longer support your growth. You might observe connections becoming tense for unexplained reasons. Individuals you previously resonated with suddenly feel like they're communicating in an alien language. Exchanges that used to flow naturally now feel artificial, hollow. This isn't you drifting away from people. This is you evolving into someone who requires a different depth of connection, a different caliber of relationship. Your career might begin feeling restrictive in ways it never did previously. Responsibilities that used to stimulate you now feel mentally numbing. The atmosphere that once felt secure now feels like confinement. You discover yourself gazing through glass, imagining possibilities you cannot even articulate yet. Previous patterns that used to provide satisfaction suddenly lose their attraction. The entertainment you consumed for hours now bores you after brief exposure. The cuisine you desired now tastes flavourless. The pursuits you used to immerse yourself in now feel like diversions from something more essential you should be pursuing. Most individuals panic during this stage. They attempt to force the old systems to function. They push harder in relationships that are naturally dissolving. They immerse themselves in work that no longer enriches them. They grasp onto routines that have lost their purpose. But this deconstruction isn't something to resist, it's something to embrace. Because what's occurring is that existence is creating space for something greater to emerge. You cannot pour fresh liquid into deteriorated containers. The old vessels of your life must break down before new ones can be constructed. The second stage is what neuroscientists call the heightened perception phenomenon. This is where your responsiveness to everything intensifies dramatically. Hues appear more saturated, sound penetrates you deeper, interactions carry significance they never possessed before. Even routine exchanges feel charged with importance. Your inner knowing becomes more acute than it's ever been. You begin understanding things without comprehending how you understand them. You enter spaces and immediately perceive the atmosphere. You encounter individuals and instantly grasp their essence. You make choices based on sensations that prove to be precisely accurate. Visions become more intense, more symbolic, more predictive. You awaken with answers to challenges you weren't consciously addressing. You have dialogues in your sleep that feel more authentic than your conscious interactions. The distinction between your aware and unaware mind begins to dissolve in the most magnificent way. This heightening serves a particular function. It's conditioning your nervous system to manage the intensity of what's approaching. Consider it like preparing for a championship competition. You don't simply appear and perform at peak level. Your system must be trained to handle the magnitude, the velocity, the demands. During this stage, you might discover yourself becoming emotional at advertisements, finding humour in things that aren't especially amusing, feeling overwhelmed by beauty you never acknowledged before. This isn't you becoming unbalanced. This is you becoming more vibrant, more present, more capable of experiencing the complete range of what existence offers. The third stage is where phenomena become truly fascinating. This is what researchers term the precognition phase. you begin receiving glimpses of the reality that's awaiting you. Not complete experiences, but samples, previews, secret glimpses behind the veil of your future. Perhaps you engage in dialogue with someone that provides you a flash of understanding into a profession you never contemplated. Perhaps you attempt something innovative and uncover an ability you didn't know you possessed. Perhaps you visit a location and feel an inexplicable sense of belonging, like you've been there previously in dreams. These preview experiences aren't accidents. They're not coincidences. They're precisely coordinated glimpses designed to prepare you for what's approaching. They're developing your capacity to receive and identify opportunity when it completely presents itself. But here's where most individuals make their greatest error. They attempt to force these previews into complete experiences. They encounter someone intriguing and immediately try to transform it into a partnership. They discover a new interest and immediately try to convert it into a profession. They have a moment of insight and immediately try to reconstruct their entire existence around it. The precognition stage isn't about implementing action. It's about developing recognition. It's about training your system to identify the frequencies you'll need to attune to when the genuine opportunities manifest. Consider it like learning to recognize a melody in a symphony. First, you must know what that melody sounds like before you can distinguish it from the harmony. These previews are also assessments of your preparedness. How do you respond when you receive a sample of something superior? Do you clutch at it desperately? Do you dismiss it as too extraordinary to be authentic? Or do you receive it with appreciation and wonder, allowing it to expand your understanding of what's achievable? Your response to these preview experiences determines how rapidly you advance through the remaining stages, because what follows is the most demanding aspect of the entire process. This is what psychologists call the final integration resistance. And it's where most individuals retreat just steps before their breakthrough materializes. Immediately before your new reality completely manifests, your existing identity will make one final desperate attempt to maintain you precisely where you are. This resistance doesn't originate from external forces. It doesn't come from other people attempting to restrain you. It emerges from within you, from the aspect of your psyche that's terrified of change, even beneficial change. This internal resistance is remarkably sophisticated. It will use your own intelligence against you. It will present rational arguments for why you should abandon your path. It will remind you of every occasion you failed previously. It will suggest that you're being impractical, that individuals like you don't get to have existences like this, that you should be thankful for what you already possess and stop reaching for more. The resistance will also manifest through the individuals around you, not because they want to harm you, but because your transformation challenges their stagnation. When you begin vibrating at a different frequency, it makes others unconsciously uncomfortable. They'll attempt to draw you back into old patterns of thinking and existing without even realizing they're doing it. You might discover that conversations with family members become more strained. Friends who used to support your aspirations suddenly become doubtful. Colleagues who used to appreciate your company now seem annoyed by your presence. This isn't because you've done anything incorrect. It's because you're changing. And change in one person forces everyone around them to confront the possibility of change in their own existences. During this phase, uncertainty will feel more convincing than it ever has previously. You'll question everything you've been sensing and experiencing. You'll wonder if you've been interpreting meaning into meaningless events. You'll consider whether you should just accept your current reality and stop hoping for something different. This is the moment when most people surrender, when the pressure feels too overwhelming, when the unknown feels too uncertain, when the familiar seems safer than the potential. They convince themselves they were being foolish. That breakthrough narratives happen to other individuals, that they should be more realistic about their limitations. But if you're still here, if you're still absorbing this, it means you're not most people. It means something within you recognizes the truth of what's being shared. It means you've progressed too far to retreat now. The intensity of this resistance is directly proportional to the magnitude of what's waiting for you. The stronger the pushback, the greater the breakthrough that's about to unfold. This resistance isn't evidence that you're on the incorrect path. It's confirmation that you're closer than you've ever been. Here's what you need to understand about navigating this final resistance. First, anticipate it. When it appears, don't be surprised. Don't interpret it as a sign that you should quit. Recognize it as the last obstacle between you and everything you've been working toward. Second, use this resistance as energy. Every doubt, every fear, every rational argument for why you should surrender becomes power you can channel toward your breakthrough. The more intense the resistance, the more strength you have available to push through it. Third, remember that this resistance is temporary. It's not a permanent condition, it's a phase, and like all phases, it will pass. The question isn't whether you'll navigate through it. The question is whether you'll navigate through it while maintaining your vision, or whether you'll let it convince you to settle for less than you deserve. During this final resistance phase, time will begin behaving differently. Minutes will feel like hours, days will feel like weeks, but simultaneously, moments will feel eternal. This temporal distortion is your consciousness existing in multiple dimensions at once. A dimension where you're still becoming, and the dimension where you've already arrived. This isn't your imagination creating illusions. This is what happens when you're operating at the edge of a major life transition. You're being given time to fully integrate everything you've learned, to become comfortable with the idea of success, to start perceiving yourself as someone who naturally attracts achievement instead of someone who has to struggle for every small victory. You're literally rewiring your identity at the deepest level. The person you've been is dissolving, and the person you're becoming is being born. And like any birth, it's chaotic, it's uncomfortable, and it requires you to push through moments when you think you cannot continue further. But here's what nobody tells you about this identity dissolution and rebirth process. It's not just about you becoming successful. It's about you becoming someone who can handle success. Someone who can sustain it. Someone who can use it to create even more value in the world. Because the truth is, the breakthrough that's approaching isn't just about obtaining what you want. It's about becoming who you need to be to serve at the level you're being called to serve. So if you're recognizing these patterns unfolding in your existence right now, if something profound within you is resonating with everything shared here, then you need to understand what this moment represents. These insights didn't reach you by accident. You were guided to them because you're ready to receive this information, ready to recognize the signs that have been surrounding you, ready to trust the process that's been orchestrating your transformation long before you became consciously aware of it. The deconstruction, the heightening, the previews, the resistance. These aren't separate events happening randomly in your existence. They're part of one unified sequence designed to prepare you for the breakthrough that's already approaching. Every challenge you've faced has been building your capacity to handle what's coming. Every moment of doubt has been strengthening your faith. Every time you almost surrendered but didn't, you proved to yourself and the universe that you're ready for what's about to unfold. Now pause for a moment to honour this recognition. If these words have illuminated something within you, if you feel that familiar stirring of truth, there's a way to anchor this moment in your consciousness. Write these words somewhere. You'll see them daily. I recognise the signs of my transformation, and I trust the process unfolding within me. This isn't merely an affirmation, it's your acknowledgement that you're prepared to embrace the changes that are already in motion, even when the complete picture isn't yet visible. Your breakthrough isn't just possible, it's inevitable, and it's closer than you think. The signs are surrounding you right now. The synchronicities, the heightened sensitivity, the visions, the resistance, the previews of what's achievable. These aren't coincidences. They're confirmations that everything is developing exactly as it should. Trust the process. Trust yourself. And remember, these insights were meant to reach you before everything finally shifts. Because when it does, you'll understand that every single moment led you here.